Nostalgia. Isn't it interesting how we tend to crave so much of it in our lives, whether it be out in the world or from the comfort of our own homes? What happens when you're willing to go to any lengths to find it? What happens when it's not quite what you expect it to be? After all, once you experience nostalgia from a place, a book, or even a game, there's something about it that isn't what you remember. Buddy is such a character that's obsessed with nostalgia, though at the expense of the player. His intentions, made clear from the start, are to keep you in this world for as long as possible, watching you survive the night against these twisted versions of the animatronics over and over again. The further you progress, the more intrigued he becomes, but eventually these feelings turn to frustration. When Act 6 begins, Buddy expresses how he doesn't want the player to leave him to rot, and chooses to take matters into his own elongated hands. Despite his attempts, however, he fails and later tells you he's sorry, that he tried to give you a good time. Nostalgia broke Buddy, and you're lucky that you escaped, because it would have broken you too. When you first wind up in the office, it's clear how similar he created it to the original FNAF 1, but taking a look around, you realize how much darker and twisted this location now is. Every area has a disturbing feeling to it, places that should no longer exist, but somehow still do. This feeling has even affected the animatronics, distorting them in horrifying ways. Any player would get the feeling that this isn't the nostalgia they want to find in this world, but something more. However, you play Buddy's game and defend yourself against their attacks. Even upon completing the night, he simply resets the time, saying things like, "just like the old times, right?" Through this behavior, I see a lot of resemblance to Flumpty from the One Night at Flumpty's games, another character who traps the player against their will in the hopes of continuing to play with them. At the end of each of those nights, Flumpty does everything in his power to keep the clock from hitting 6 a.m., wanting the fun to continue endlessly. Buddy feels this way so bad that 95 won't even finish completely. In that moment, it's easy to forget that he has control over the time, since he never messes with it during the office segment. But he knows too well that being this fifth night will return you to the title screen, giving you free reign to leave as you wish, and he won't allow that. During his monologue, his face continues to contort, resembling the animatronics that he dragged into this world, before he vows to make the player never want to depart. After that, he fades into the darkness, which actually reminds me of Golden Freddy from Ultimate Custom Night. After you beat 50-20 mode, he'll appear in his FNAF 1 form, twitching as he slowly is engulfed by the shadows. This is another character that refuses to let the player escape, another character that doesn't want to quit. Though while Golden Freddy did this to torture Afton, Buddy does this in his need for a friend. One thing he says before Night 6 begins is that he created the game for you, the player. He wanted someone to experience his creation, and he saw you going through the game as a way of enjoying his work. Except he doesn't appreciate it being ignored. This nostalgia that he brought back wasn't meant to be felt temporarily, it was supposed to be felt forever. After you beat the night, he finally gives up, knowing that it's impossible to make you stay. Regardless of what Buddy does, he's still trapped in a computer game, he can't leave no matter how much he may want to. Despite this ending, that's not the entirety of the game. After Night 6, a small door appears on the title screen, gives you access to the location of the puppet. Puppet explains to you that despite being forced into this game like the others, he managed to escape and find refuge on another file. He also gives you the task to help save the other animatronics, these characters subjected to the same nostalgia as you have. Even then, Buddy constantly looks for you as you collect balloons, showing that he's quite literally everywhere in this game. This detail is actually ever-present, and something that represents how obsessed he was with making the world. With the exception of the puppet's lair, Buddy's presence exists in all other parts of the game. This is emphasized with his eyes. Eyes seem to have incredible importance in this FNAF 1 remake. There's a stark difference between Bonnie's, Chica's, and Foxy's eyes, the absence of Freddy's eyes, and this appearance of Buddy's eyes during his jump scare. In the attempt to get the last star, you have to collect items throughout the 5 main nights, which end up being these small eyes. There's also the eye that appears in the virus pop-up on the 6th night, and even a gigantic eye that searches for you during the final minigame. Eyes are literally everywhere. It's actually kind of weird. Anyway, the presence of eyes shows how much control Buddy is over this world. It's actually something I compared to the Eye of Sauron from the Lord of the Rings series. To keep to the stark basics, this eye was a manifestation of Sauron's evil after he was defeated. It's a symbol that shows, and I quote from Game Rant, how much control Sauron had over Mordor and all things evil. It was Sauron's will of ultimate power that spread across the lands far and wide, as far as the eye could reach. Basically Sauron's surveillance, but not Sauron himself. He's always watching, but really, watching here means that his omnipotence was always felt. As crazy as this comparison may sound, it actually makes a lot of sense, but he always watches the player, something that I made clear of on night 1, which is to keep him entertained. He's always aware of what's going on, and frankly, why not? He created this place to have a fun time with you, and he wants to make sure that everything is perfect. However, Buddy's actions demonstrate the darker side of nostalgia. He's so isolated, constantly longing for the past, and can't even really enjoy his own creation, something that the puppet recognizes when he tells you that he can't be helped. Buddy's internal grief and desperation eventually manifests into depression when he finally understands that he can no longer keep you in this world. Nostalgia broke Buddy to his core. This game remains as a sign about how it's important to let go. Sure, we can always long for the past experiences that make us feel joy, and in this case fear, but it's not something we should always chase. Eventually, we have to let go and move on with our lives, because if we don't, we may very well find ourselves stuck in a trap of our own making. So yeah, did I overanalyze an April Fool's joke? Yes I did.